Will Europe fold to the US on Greenland? What's the future of NATO? That's what I Don't Lie says, asks. Mr. Karat says, why has Trump bowed to Europe on Greenland? Was European unity too much for the US? So will Europe fold to the US on Greenland? Second question is, why has Trump folded to Europe on Greenland? And Ayush says, why has Trump let go of the talk of Greenland, to which he was saying that the US needs somehow, anyhow possible, any backroom deal happened? What's in my opinion? Okay. So a couple of days ago, a few days ago, 3-4 days ago, Trump said that, he would impose what, 10%, 25%, 10% tariffs on certain NATO nations, Denmark, etc. Uh, and that would increase to 25% in a few months and remain in place as long as Greenland is not solved. And what's the solution he wants? He wants US sovereignty over Greenland. He says that, we already have our military in place in Greenland. We already have a military base in Greenland. And it's not like Greenland is Danish territory. You had a few boats come there a few centuries ago. We also had boats come in there, right? And Denmark is sovereignty. It's not something on paper, right? If you have sovereignty over a region, you must be in a position to hold it and defend it. And Denmark is not in a position to do that. So Trump says that's why you need to reach an agreement with us, the US, on Greenland. We'll pay you some money and you hand over sovereignty to us. And we need it for national security reasons. We want to keep Russia out and China out, and etc. etc. So obviously, there's the question of very important thing, which is resources, oil, gas, minerals, and so on. So Trump wants Greenland. Now Trump says more recently that those tariffs will not be applied. So what does it mean? Does it mean that Trump has given up on Greenland? Will he simply be content with America having, the US having a few more bases or a more augmented military presence in Greenland, with sovereignty still remaining in the hands of Denmark? What's the deal, actually? Right? So who has folded? Is Europe going to fold to the US, or is Trump folding and bowing to Europe? What's the deal? None of these things. So Trump is not bowing to Europe. He's not folding to Europe. And what I expect is, most likely in the coming days, weeks, or months, some kind of agreement will be reached. And what kind of agreement will it be? It will be either full sovereignty for the US or de facto sovereignty for the US. See, you can do something, you can achieve an objective without making it very obvious. So the US already has a military presence in Greenland. Let's say they expand military presence in Greenland. Maybe they reach an agreement with Denmark that instead of one military base, we'll have 7 military bases in Greenland. Okay? But technically, the sovereignty remains in the hands of Denmark. Technically, on paper, it may be Danish territory. But if the US military has 7, let's say, bases hypothetically on Greenland, does it really mean that Greenland is Danish territory anymore? I mean, Japan is technically a sovereign nation, but it has 130 plus US military bases. You call that sovereignty, right? Who really controls Japan, owns Japan, occupies Japan? It's the US. Japan is not a sovereign nation. Similarly, they could do the same thing in Greenland. So technically, it remains Danish territory on paper, but for all intents and purposes, on the ground, it's the Americans who own and operate it. So technically, that satisfies the honor of Denmark. That, we were able to stand firm and we did not give up our sovereignty. But look what's happening there. It's all Americans. So that sovereignty is just technical. It's just on paper. So either the US will take full sovereignty of Greenland, or it will achieve de facto ownership and possession of Greenland. Both ways, the US wins and Trump wins. Okay, but if the Americans take full sovereignty of Greenland, then it's kind of a slap in the face to Denmark, right? Kind of. And if they take de facto sovereignty without actually changing sovereignty on paper, then Denmark's honor and Denmark saves face. But knowing Trump, I expect that he will want actual full possession, sovereign possession of Greenland, because he wants to be remembered as one of the greatest presidents of all time in the US, right? And the greatest presidents are those who expand territory, right? So I expect that he wants to be remembered as the president who expanded American territory and acquired a major new possession, Greenland. So I expect that's what he's going to go after. Uh, Eventually, I expect that's what's going to happen. If not, it's going to be anyway a de facto ownership of Greenland. So either way, the US wins and they get what they want.